why the promise to triple global clean energy is off track. Imagine a world where nearly 200 countries promise to drastically boost our reliance on clean energy sources like wind and solar power. It was a grand vision, one that seemed poised to tackle climate change head-on. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite this ambitious pledge made at COP28, only 16 nations have actually stepped up their renewable energy targets. Think about it this way. If you were planning a massive party and invited all your friends to bring 3 times as many snacks as usual, but only a handful showed up with extra treats, the party might not quite reach the grand scale you envisioned. That's essentially what's happening with global renewable energy goals. This shortfall in commitment could significantly hinder our collective efforts to curb global temperature rises and encourage a smoother shift towards cleaner energy sources. According to a recent analysis by Ember, an energy think tank, this stagnation in target setting poses a real threat to our climate ambitions. It's not just about installing more wind turbines and solar panels, explains Kathy Altieri, an electricity analyst at Ember. We need to ensure that these new energy sources are integrated into our power grids efficiently and sustainably. This smart approach to renewable energy deployment is crucial for several reasons. Firstly, clear and ambitious targets can give investors the confidence they need to pour money into clean energy projects. Secondly, they help governments plan how to smoothly incorporate renewable energy into existing electrical systems. Lastly, well-defined targets can prevent the situation where we end up with unused or obsolete fossil fuel infrastructure, a scenario often referred to as stranded assets. And this is the part most people miss. The importance of setting and sticking to these targets isn't just about meeting numerical goals. It's about laying the groundwork for a sustainable future. So, what do you think? Are current efforts enough, or do we need more nations to step up their commitments? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Global climate pledge fails as renewable shortfall deepens. Imagine a world where the future of energy lies in harnessing the power of the sun, wind, and water. Yet a recent analysis by climate experts reveals a stark reality. Most global governments are falling woefully short of their commitments to transition to renewable energy. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite signing a pledge at the UN's COP28 summit in Dubai to triple the world's renewable energy capacity by 2030, only a handful of countries have taken meaningful steps towards this ambitious goal. Climate analysts warn that if current trends continue, we'll fall far short of our clean energy objectives. This shortfall could perpetuate our dependence on fossil fuels, making it increasingly difficult to meet the critical target of keeping global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius. A report by the climate think tank Ember underscores this concern, highlighting that only 22 countries, primarily within the European Union, have boosted their renewable energy ambitions since the pledge was made nearly 2 years ago. The Ember report indicates that the global sum of national renewable energy targets is now just 2% higher than what was agreed upon at COP28. Even if this modest increase were fully realized, it would only double the world's renewable energy capacity from 2022 levels, reaching 7.4 terawatts (TW) by 2030. However, the UN's ambitious target requires 11 TW of renewable energy by 2030 to stay on track for the 1.5 degrees Celsius climate pathway. Tripling global renewables capacity by 2030 is the single biggest action this decade to stay on track for the 1.5 degrees Celsius climate pathway. The report emphasizes. Yet, despite the landmark COP28 agreement to reach 11,000 gigawatts of renewables by 2030, national targets remain largely unchanged and fall short of what is needed. Beyond the EU, only 7 countries have updated their renewable energy goals since the pact was signed. Notably, Mexico and Indonesia have even reduced their targets. Among the major players, the United States, China, and Russia, collectively responsible for nearly half of the world's annual carbon emissions, have shown little to no progress in setting new renewable energy targets. The future of the world's renewable energy deal hinges on the actions of these key countries. China, expected to finalize its 15th five-year energy plan later this year, will play a crucial role. Meanwhile, the United States and Russia do not have specific renewable energy targets for 2030, and their political leaders are not expected to set any in the near future. India stands out as an exception. While its clean energy targets remain unchanged, the country's ambition to build 500 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030 aligns with the global goal to triple renewable energy capacity. Vietnam has shown remarkable ambition, pledging to increase its renewable energy capacity by 86 gigawatts by the end of the decade. Australia and Brazil have also committed to expanding their renewable energy production by 18 gigawatts and 15 gigawatts respectively. The United Kingdom has upgraded its renewable energy plans, aiming to add an additional 7 gigawatts by 2030 to achieve a virtually carbon-free electricity system. South Korea is expected to see its renewable energy capacity grow by 9 gigawatts by 2030. As we navigate this critical decade for climate action, the question remains, will these pledges translate into concrete actions, or will the world continue to rely heavily on fossil fuels? The fate of our planet hangs in the balance, and it's up to policymakers and citizens alike to demand the necessary changes. What do you think? Can we meet the UN's ambitious renewable energy goals, or are we headed for another missed opportunity? Renewable energy goals. Are we falling behind? The dream of a cleaner, greener future is slipping through our fingers. Despite the ambitious promises made on the global stage, the world is alarmingly off track to meet a critical target: tripling renewable energy capacity by 2030. This revelation comes from a new report that casts doubt on whether countries can deliver on their commitments. Just 2 years after they pledged to take bold action against climate change. At the heart of this issue lies a sobering reality. National governments are falling short of their renewable energy installation goals. According to Ember, a respected climate think tank, current plans for deploying technologies like wind and solar power will leave us far behind the targets set during the United Nations COP28 summit in 2023. That landmark agreement, hammered out in Dubai, was hailed as a turning point in humanity's fight to transition away from fossil fuels. But here's where it gets controversial. If governments aren't even close to meeting these goals, how much faith can we place in international climate agreements? To understand why this matters, let's break it down. Renewable energy sources like wind and solar are essential for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and combating global warming. By committing to triple the world's renewable energy capacity, countries aimed to send a clear message. The era of fossil fuels is ending, and clean energy is the way forward. However, the gap between ambition and reality is growing wider. For instance, while some nations have made strides in expanding solar farms or wind turbines, others have been slow to act, hindered by political, financial, or logistical challenges. And this is the part most people miss. The success of renewable energy expansion isn't just about technology. It's also about policy, investment, and public support. Without substantial funding and consistent government backing, even the most advanced technologies can't make the impact needed to drive meaningful change. Critics argue that many governments are paying lip service to renewable goals while continuing to prop up fossil fuel industries. Is this a fair critique, or are there legitimate barriers preventing faster progress? As we approach 2030, the urgency of addressing these shortcomings becomes clearer with each passing day. The question now is whether countries will rise to the occasion or continue to fall short. Can we trust policymakers to prioritize long-term sustainability over short-term gains? Or will the lure of cheap, readily available fossil fuels prove too strong to resist? What do you think? Are governments doing enough to push for renewables, or is the transition doomed to fail without more aggressive measures? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective.